Everybody, welcome to today's live. I am so excited. I am going to bring on an amazing, beautiful person. Her name is Alanna, and she is the author of a recipe book that's in the Vegan Health Bundle this year titled Smoothies and Spice and Everything Nice. So I'm excited just to talk to Alanna and really learn more about her and her inspiration behind her recipe books and more about why she became a vegan and what her life looks like, eating plant-based and how that has impacted her health and her family and those around her. I'm so excited to have you on. I love your recipe book, Smoothies and Spice and Everything Nice. And I went ahead and made your fenugreek fun smoothie.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Thank you
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's absolutely delicious. Just, I love fenugreek. So when I saw this one, it caught my attention right away. And I was like, okay, I'm making this. And I actually have fresh sprouted fenugreek because I sprout it all the time in my kitchen because I love it so much. It's so good for the liver and it helps to cleanse. And I noticed that you smell like caramel when you have fenugreek. So I eat it all the time. It's so
Oh,
good. So I
nice.
love your smoothie. Yeah. And I won't tell
Awesome.
everybody all of the ingredients in it because you guys can pick up Alanna's recipe book in the Vegan Health Bundle, and you'll get her recipes with all her smoothies and spices and tons of other recipe books. So it's a great value. It's an $8,000 value for only $49. So the link is in our bio if you guys want to pick that up today. But let's go ahead and talk to Alanna. Welcome again. I'm just honored to have you on, and I would love to learn, about your inspiration into your smoothie, your recipe book, and how you infuse all of these healing spices into your smoothies. So if you could tell us about that, and then we can learn a little bit more about you and why you became plant-based and your healing journey.
Sure. Yeah, the smoothie and spice ebook. I was inspired to combine what I learned in my naturopathic studies. Just like I was very inspired to try to help people integrate more herbs and spices into their lives because having a greater diversity is really good for the microbiome. And like a lot of these herbs and spices are very like have these therapeutic qualities to them, and we don't necessarily think about it on a day-to-day basis. And so I wanted to combine smoothies with herbs and spices because I'm a busy mom and I have at least one smoothie a day. And so for me, it was just like a really great combination of the two. And I felt like I was always kind of using the same herbs and spices in the same way. So I wanted to expand my palette and like experience with herbs and spices. And so I just decided to like start mixing them into the smoothies. And so my ebook has one page that talks about how like one particular herb or spice has been used over time by humanity, and then the next page is like a simple recipe. And I tried to make really simple smoothie recipes. Some of them even only have 2 ingredients. And I think the most complex one has like maybe 6 or 7 ingredients, but most of them are very like easy, like recipes. And you don't have to be like super precise with like the quantities either. Like you can, put more herbs or spices in them or less depending on how you like it. It's just kind of like, the idea, a sketch of the smoothie. And yeah, I had a lot of fun making them. I have 3 little kids, and I made the ebook in the beginning of last year. My twins were 3 at that point, and my eldest was 4, and they all love the smoothies. So they're also like kid approved. So
Good, good. That's important. It's a great way to get all of the nutrition into a kid's little body, right? Through a smoothie, because you can put so much in there.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
definitely.
So what inspired you? Like, do you have a healing story or a journey to share and why you got into, raw foods in the first place?
Yes, I grew up with a mother who was severely obese my entire life, and she was ill like off and on my entire life. She developed diabetes and asthma, and she had a failed lap band surgery. She battled depression her entire life. My parents fought lot about like her health situation, which
Mhm.
obviously didn't help the situation, but
Mhm.
and then she had 3 rounds of cancer. And when I was pregnant with my first son, she passed away of the 3rd round of cancer. And it was going to
So
be her
sorry.
first baby child. So it was like, it was a very, very traumatizing period of
Mm-hmm.
time. Like I was overjoyed about having a child, but I was also like torn because I lost my mother at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And I became pregnant with twins when my first child was not even 1 year old. So I had three boys in 2 years. It was like
Wow.
yeah, I had 3 boys in 2 years, and I was reading a little bit of your story in your ebook, and we have a lot in common. I turned vegetarian when I was 12 years old. So I was
Mm.
vegetarian. I've been plant-based for 32 years, vegan for 10, and high raw, like for less than you, but for like about 3 years now. And so when I had my twins, I was vegan, but I was eating a lot of processed food because I had a lot of misinformation about needing like the fake veggie burgers and things to replace the protein and eating like transformed things. And I was very stressed out. And so my stress was like, I was taking my stress out and emotionally eating like things that I knew that I shouldn't be eating, but it's just how I dealt with it. And so when after I stopped breastfeeding the twins, that actually got my weight off because breastfeeding, 2 babies at once was very demanding and taking care of their brother. I started like putting on weight really rapidly again, like I was yo-yoing. I've yo-yoed my entire life, but this time like it started coming on with a vengeance, and I was
Mm.
having heart palpitations and ear ringing, and I was depressed, and I had periodontal disease, and I had acne. Like I felt like I was kind of falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to go back to school and become a naturopath and learn and study with Karen Ramsey on how to become a raw vegan health coach. And so I went on a low fat, raw vegan diet for lifestyle for 6 to 7 months, like pretty much like 100% raw. Like there are some ingredients that we don't call, 100% raw,
Mm-hmm.
like cashews and like other things. I'm not
Right.
even gonna get into that. But
Mm-hmm.
I did I have integrated some cooked food into my lifestyle now, and the heart of what I eat is raw, so that's why
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself a high raw vegan. But yeah, that period of time like really helped me release the weight, reverse like symptoms, have more energy. I also had like really poor digestion and elimination, and I just didn't
Mm.
realize that it was, such poor quality digestion and elimination
Yeah.
until I experienced what it felt like to actually be eliminating every day and like feel good after elimination, because I think that it's normal to feel some sort of, relief when you eliminate, and
Yeah.
not like, I think there's taboo around talking about this, but I think it's really important. I think a lot of people just don't understand what it feels like to properly eliminate.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that just
Yeah.
like inspired me to help other people in my shoes, like other busy moms or other parents, or you don't even have to be a mom or a parent, but that's like I created an 8 week online course to help people in my position to find a way of like formulating their own like way of living and eating that incorporates more living foods. That's basically
Wow.
my story in a nutshell. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing everything. That's awesome. I think we do actually have a lot in common, kind of our history and going through that period of time of gaining weight and then losing it. And
Mm,
yeah, yeah, you became a vegetarian at 12 and me at 11, yeah, so I understand your story a lot. That is so exciting. I just feel an understanding, like, when you meet somebody and you connect and you kind of have similarities, you kind of feel
yes.
that instant connection of like understanding. So Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's beautiful. I I just feel so much better, on high raw, and
Mhm.
during my journey, that's what I do as well. I just share, the difference that it can make in a person's body. It can enable them to have that energy and that life force to heal and regenerate and for the body to work correctly, and smoothies, my gosh, smoothies are a huge, huge part of my daily diet as well. Not only the juices, I drink a lot of juice, but I drink an equal amount of smoothies as well. So I think it's just a well balanced, diet of the high raw and the juices, the smoothies, the raw food. We're getting the fiber, but we're also getting the fresh juice that can get through the intestinal wall and nourish the person. Because sometimes everything else doesn't get through, especially if there's any kind of intestinal challenges or absorption challenges. So I think the juice kind of helps and plugs in those voids and gets that nutrition into the cells. So it works together. Now, tell us, Alanna, what are some of your favorite spices and herbs to infuse into the smoothies, and why do you like those ones so much?
I really love just like vanilla. I know
Mm,
this is like a very common a
yeah.
common spice to be using, but like for me, vanilla has like a very maternal like quality to it. I just
Hmm.
feel like it's very comforting. I know that it's supposed to be good for like, libido and also like just feeling better in general. So like I find that vanilla is like one that I really love using.
Mm,
Another one that's very similar that contains a lot of coumarin is
okay.
the tonka bean. And I just recently found out, like, I'm a little bit embarrassed, but I just recently found out that the tonka bean is like, you can't get it in the US because it's not like approved by the FDA for some reason. In
Oh.
France, like, in France, like, I was able to buy it very easily online because, I know other chefs that use it. And I just did a live with Debbie Adler, and she said that raw Chef Yin in Malaysia uses the tonka bean in her recipes as well. So I know I'm like
Mm,
not the only one that has the tonka bean in the recipe books. But yeah,
yeah.
I read that like that you can't buy it in the US. So I just thought
Mm,
that that was kind of wild because
yeah.
apparently if you'd have to eat 30 of the beans, but apparently if you had 30 of the beans, which is like a massive amount, you could have like liver issues.
Mm,
But I mean, 30 of the beans, you'd really have to be like overdoing it.
right.
Like you'd have to drink 30 of my smoothies like all at once, which would make no sense.
You'd be really
So
full. Mhm.
anyways, yeah, like my favorite smoothie in the ebook though is the dark pepper wine smoothie. I
Okay.
tried to emulate like a wine taste in the smoothie, and like when this ebook came out in the raw vegan bundle last year, like a lot of people were pretty like excited about that smoothie. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's like kind of like the favorite of a lot of those who've tried the smoothies out in the ebook is
Okay.
the dark pepper wine smoothie. Yeah.
I saw that in there. It looks really enticing. Some other ones that I love are, let's see, Mom's Fruity Chai Smoothie. I have
Mhm.
the printout here, so I'm just picking up the paper and showing everybody the picture. And
Oh,
then there's
nice.
yeah, and then here's the Cinna Nut Smoothie. I want to make this one as well. Cinnamon so delicious.
Mm.
And then, of course, the fenugreek smoothie right here. And then, like Alanna was mentioning to everybody, the second page, she's included like a breakdown of the health properties of the herb or the sprout or the spice. So here you can learn all about fenugreek on the second page. I love how you laid that out. And then there's the Corey and her smoothie. So lots of delicious smoothies. And like you said, Alanna, they're easy to make. They're often ingredients that people have in their kitchen, whether it's the spice or even the fresh item. Like today, I used my fresh fenugreek sprouts, and you can, or if you have, the seasoning or the dried herb, use what you have. I mean, is that okay? Would you
That's a great
recommend that?
That's a great point. That was my intention in writing the book. I didn't want to make a book that was super complicated for people to use. And so I
Mm-hmm.
really based it on like the dried herbs and spices. And I did mention at some point in the book, like if you have the fresh stuff, like use that, like go ahead
Okay,
and use that. But I wanted
perfect.
like I wanted people to be able to just kind of use it from wherever they were. And like I know sometimes like when recipes get complicated, people get frustrated and they just don't even use them. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing how you made it just really easy to do. It's like you look at it and you're like, oh, I can make this, and that's key because when especially people are transitioning over to a healthier lifestyle, they want to eat more plants, more raw. It needs to seem easy for them and approachable, so they don't give up or they don't right away turn away before they've even given it a chance to learn and to incorporate into their lifestyle. So that's what I really love about your book, your smoothie recipes, is that you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, I got that, I got this, I got this, I can do this. I'll just throw it together. And then you have your whole food smoothie, add in your herbs, your spices, your sprouts, and you're good to go. So yeah, your book really caught my attention because I'm a smoothie lover as well, and I love creating smoothies, and they're so good. I think you guys are going to love Alanna's recipe book. So make sure you check out the Vegan Health Bundle if you have not yet. It is only through the 1st through the 10th of March, so you have a few more days, and you can pick up over $8,000 of material. The value is huge for only $49. So if you guys are interested, make sure you check out the links in our bios and get yours today. You get everything, you can download it, and you have instant access. And there's a lot of video courses in there as well. So you'll get everything and you can start to learn. And I recommend just pulling a few recipes out, a few books, things that catch your attention, and start with those. And then once you master those, say, oh, I'm going to go back and see what else is in this bundle. And I'm going to try these recipes, here and there. That way you start without feeling overwhelmed, and then you learn and you get those recipes under your belt and they become second nature. And then before you know it, as the weeks and the months go by, you've learned like 30, 40, 50 new recipes. And before you know it, you've transitioned your whole way of eating to a healthier way. And you're going to start to look and feel better and amazing. So let's see, Alanna, did you have another item in the bundle, or is this the one?
No, this is the one. This is
This
the
is the
one.
one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
had another ebook in last year's bundle, but this year we just put this one in, and
Okay.
I really love your contribution as well, the
Thank
7-day
you.
juicy meal plan.
Thank you.
And I wrote down I want to try the creamy yellow squash persimmon dip. That like sounds like
Yeah.
a really, really awesome combination.
Thank
The
you.
squash and the persimmon
Really
together.
is actually.
How did
Yeah.
you come up with that idea?
You know, it's, as a raw chef like you as well, I'm in the kitchen, and a lot of my recipe creations I come up with because I'm in the mood for like a dressing or something raw and healthy. And I literally just go to my kitchen and I'm thinking of the flavor components and what I have on hand. And I'm like,
Right.
ooh, this sounds good. This would go together. Okay, I got the lemon, I got the acidic component. I have some dates, or if I have raisins for the sweet. And then, what do I have as the base? Zucchini, do I have celery? What am I going to use? And then what kind of fruit am I going to put in this? Ooh, I think pineapple would go good, or orange, or persimmon, and so that's how I just kind of come up with my recipes and I create. And then I also think about the nutritional benefit of it, and how satiating it's going to be, and how it's going to mix with the main dish, if I'm putting it on noodles, or if I'm going to dip some bell peppers in it. So yeah, that's kind of my process. I just love getting in the kitchen, as I'm sure you do, and just creating things. And then sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to try this and see what happens, see how it comes out. And then I'm just like amazed. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is good. Okay, I'm writing it all down. It's going to my next recipe book, So,
Nice. That's
so
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So thank you. I'm excited for you to try some of the items in there. And
And then the banana, pineapple, and nibs frozen dessert pudding. That's
mhm.
amazing.
That
Sounds
one's
so good.
really good.
I want my kids to
It's
try it too.
yeah. I think your kids will love it. And I love those healthy desserts because, especially when I was, first going through that whole, first years of high, super raw, it's like I wanted to have like that satiation of like a treat, and those desserts. And when I coach other and I teach them too, and it's like, I want you guys to have your dessert, your sweet, so you don't feel deprived. So you're so excited about life and food, because food is such a huge part of our lives. And when people are coming off those unhealthy foods and those fried foods and the foods that are just destroying them. But somehow they seem happy with that life, if that makes sense. Like some people, they're still like excited. They're like looking forward to their bad food. But once it catches up with them and they start to have health problems and challenges and they gain weight, then they're like, okay, I got to stop. But I want to transition the excitement over to the raw food. So I want them to be excited. And then they feel healthy and they start to feel great and regenerate, but they're still excited about their treats. They're like, oh, I get to have this, you know, ice cream dessert thing in the evening, and I get to have this smoothie, and and the dressings taste so good, and the smoothies, right? And it's just, I think it's great, for people to still look forward, and even more so, I know for me, share with us too, like how you feel now, like eating this way and living this way. Like for me, it's so much more enjoyable. Like I love life, and I'm so excited about being able to eat food and create food like this that actually is good for us. And how do you feel? Like, do you feel excited?
I feel really excited, and I also feel like there was a huge like black dark cloud that like lifted from my shoulders because I explained like having a mother who was dealing with all these illnesses and like
Mm-hmm.
growing up with an obese parent, like you kind of project, like especially a daughter of a mother, I just kept thinking I'm gonna end up overweight like her, I'm gonna be obese, and like it was really like depressing for me to feel
Yeah.
that way my entire life. And like I yo-yoed, like I put on weight, and then like I started smoking, and like I used smoking as a
Mm.
way of like regulating my weight. I was anorexic at some point, like a couple of points in my lifetime, and yeah,
Yeah.
I had a very poor relationship with food, like I think a lot of people do,
Yeah.
and a lot of people just didn't talk about
Right.
it. So I had all of these issues with the food, and when I found like the raw living lifestyle, I just felt
Mm-hmm.
like it was my answer to a lot of this, like because
Yeah.
of the caloric density and like the hydration in these foods, you're able to like eat larger quantities. So if you're someone like me
Mm-hmm.
and who likes to snack and likes to eat big quantities, you
Yeah.
don't feel like you have to like depriving yourself or like restricting food quantities. So that was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Also feeling more free about fruit and like just having like, as much fresh fruit as possible. Like that felt really like liberating, and just
Yes.
like having so much more energy. Like energy is like so precious. Like I
Mm-hmm.
used to work in a corporate job, and like I traveled the world, and like I had an amazing job, but like I was drinking like 6 espressos a day. Like I was drinking a lot of coffee like all day
Wow.
long. And I just had this false like, idea in my head that like it was giving me energy, and I needed it. And when I like discovered this way of like eating and living, I was like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like I have so much
Mm-hmm.
more energy than I ever did when I was like pumping myself full of caffeine and like, nicotine.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah,
A good clean energy now.
yeah, exactly. And like a sustainable energy, not just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I've got energy and then crash like for even
Mm.
longer than.
Yeah.
So yeah, it totally like flip things around, and like I think the biggest part to it was just like the fact that it like erased these like um false conceptions about like how you had to function in life. Like you have to eat less to stay in shape. You have to have
Mm-hmm.
caffeine to have energy. You have to um eat, this or this to get enough protein. Like all these like false like things that have been drilled into my mind since a very young child, just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like I was like, oh no, actually no, I don't have to,
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
to live by these rules that weren't even like working for me. So
Right. Yeah. That is amazing. I like how you brought up about being able to eat large quantities of healthy food because I think that's important as well. And I love that. I love that about this lifestyle is that you can eat like a ginormous salad, and it looks like, wow, I get all this food, and it's your body can use every bit of it and you have so much satiation in your meal, and when you're eating it and the satisfaction of chewing it and all the flavor components, and you're like, wow, I got like to eat all this food, but it was like super low in calories, super high in nutrition, and very satiating and filling, and you feel good and you feel happy. You don't feel deprived at all, as opposed to somebody who might be eating something unhealthy. I mean, take for instance, unfortunately, most of the typical American diet and people living this fast-paced lifestyle, and they eat out a lot or they eat at fast food places, and they get the typical fries and burger and soda. Like if you look at that, not only is it super high in calories and fat and very low in nutritional quantity, and it has just so many unhealthy things and chemical things that mess with our brain. But if you look at it, it doesn't look like that much food. Mm-hmm. And what is it doing to them compared to a healthier lifestyle incorporating more plants? You get like this large meal, this large salad, these wraps and the smoothies and healthy dessert. And it's more, you know what I mean? The quantity's more, and you feel satiated and not deprived, like you were saying. With it kind of when you were first coming into it, right? You mentioned like you could eat more, so you still felt like satisfied.
Yeah. I mean, when I did make the switch, it was hard for me in the beginning. Like I went from like binge eating, like I would buy like bars of like boxes of candy or cookies, and I could eat like the whole thing. But like I was going through emotional issues around like losing my mother and like just like stress in general. So in the beginning, it was wrapping my mind around the fact of like, oh my God, like I didn't think I would be able to go like totally raw for as long as I did, or even like live the way I live now. Like it was very, very distant in my mind. And then, but little by little, like it really is a question of your taste buds and your microbiome like changing over time.
Yeah.
Like I felt like my opinion on the subject was like tainted because my body was not like ready to make that change immediately. And like little by little, I was like, oh, actually, I am more and more attracted to this, and I am like more and more attracted to feeling this good. So it was like this positive reinforcement that like that I set up little by little by, basically just like, I kept repeating what I knew was good for me, and like the fact of repeating it and having the repeated like feeling of, happiness and like you said, satiation and feeling better and having more energy and eliminating and all that stuff. It just like made me want to keep going.
Yeah.
So
Now, did you say like when you like in the past when you were going through everything, like you could eat, like you said, like the candies, or you would eat, did you say like a box of cookies and that kind of stuff, just trying to like satiate yourself?
Yeah, and I really believe at that point I was malnourished. Like I feel like I wasn't getting the correct like vitamins and minerals in my lifestyle, and so I felt like my body was seeking that nutrition in something that it was never going to get nutrition from. So it was just like, yeah, and I was getting a dopamine hit from the caloric density and like just the MSG in these foods too. Like I remember I was like loving these like vegan waffle cookie things, but they were honestly like totally empty calories.
Hey, here's a question if you want to answer it, and I can share as well. When eating raw, do you only eat vegetables and fruit? Do you boil or steam or bake any of the vegetables? And what else do you tend to eat?
Yeah, sure. I can answer. I'm high raw, so like a lot of my meals like gravitate around raw foods, but I do steam some potatoes and sweet potatoes, and sometimes I lightly steam broccoli because I really like the taste and the texture that broccoli has when it's lightly steamed. I also know that it's good raw, but I like to mix things up. Or green beans. Excuse me. And
that's okay.
In terms of, I don't boil things.
Okay.
And my family, my partner is not, he doesn't eat the same way I eat. he likes like a lot of what I make. But my partner and my kids, they like to like, we were actually getting these like vegan burgers that were not healthy options at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I convinced my partner to get an air fryer and make French fries with no oil.
Okay.
So there are like ways that we like make, you know, compromises, like instead of them getting takeout with like tons of oil and tons of MSG and tons of other things in it. I found this like alternative that everyone's happy with is just like making our own like potato fries in the air fryer with zero oil and just like and zero salt and
Mm-hmm.
just herbs and spices. And it's great because I notice my kids like when they eat, you know, things with heavy sauces, they're like, oh, like there's too much salt. Like one of my sons is like, there's too much salt, there's too much sauce, there's too much oil on it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's really like, for me, that's like a super positive sign that like what we're
Yeah.
doing is working.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it nourishes everybody in the family, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so, yeah,
absolutely.
basically to answer the Lee's Neden 332's question,
Uh-huh.
I mostly eat raw. Like sometimes I'll have juices, sometimes I'll have monomeal, sometimes I'll have like fruit plates, sometimes I'll have like a lot of times I'll have smoothies, and then I'll try to like always have like a big salad component if I'm eating something else that's cooked, and
Okay.
I try to like concentrate that at the end of the day, and yeah, that's I eat really simply. Like I'm not, yeah, I don't like make tons of complex recipes. I just kind of throw things together.
Yeah, I like that, Alanna. We're the same. It's so funny. The more we talk, I just feel like we have so much in common. I love it. It's so nice to keep things simple, like you said, and just it makes sticking with it easier. You know, sometimes I will kind of dive deeper into more complex recipes and learn them, but I'll do that with a few, and then I'm like, okay, I really like this, so now I know it. But it takes a little extra time, you know, to really research it and slow yourself down to get it, you know, and then once you do. But for the most part, I think just for everyday living, it's nice to keep it simple. And I'm high raw, just like you as well. So I will include some lightly steamed veggies as well. And then I like to have garbanzo beans every once in a while. So I do eat mainly raw, mostly raw, just like you. So high raw, super high raw, and then just a little bit of cooked here and there. And I like to have things that are kind of softer for the jaw as well, because as raw vegans, um, you know, we're chewing a lot of raw food and roughage. So it's a lot of chewing, which is fine. That's healthy and good for our jaws. And we're supposed to chew like 50 times a mouthful. Um, but I have TMJ dysfunction because when I was little, I had grinded my teeth for a little bit, and that kind of was stressful in my jaw. And, you know, probably the excess sugar in my diet when I was little, and as well as stress that can cause, you know, grinding. So that kind of hurt my jaw. So now growing up, it's not horrible. You know, I can deal with it and everything. It's not that bad, but when I chew too much, it gets sore. So I like to do things like chia puddings. I'm working on a lot of different recipes for delicious like chia puddings and parfaits, and the smoothies, of course, like all these smoothies that we have, and the wonderful ones you have in your recipe book. It's such a great way to get nutrition in to the body. You know, even if people are having their cooked meal or they're primarily cooked, a lot of people want to add, you know, more raw foods, and you can do that through juices and smoothies and salads, and just kind of have that balance depending on you and your family and your lifestyle. So it's working really good for you guys, right?
Yeah, honestly, it is. And like, yeah, anyone who's watching this live and can relate, like, this bundle is not just for vegans, it's not just for raw vegans, it's like for anyone. Honestly, like, if you want to add more fruits and vegetables, like, into your life, it's definitely
Mm-hmm.
a good way to going. And like, and what's great about this bundle is like, since there are raw vegans and there are like, you know, uh, a lot of recipe books that are low fat and some recipe books that are like 100% gluten free and refined sugar free. Like you
Mm-hmm.
really have this really nice like mix of different things going on. So you can like mix and match whatever like whatever like looks good to you and what your goal, you know, what matches your goal. It's pretty insane. I've been a part of like several bundles, and this is like the biggest one so far.
Hmm. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, there's something for everybody, like you said, you know. I like Rebecca Stoner's recipe book, her plant pizza party. You know, I think that's a great one for people transitioning over, you know, who are still eating a lot of cooked and they want to find healthier versions of pizzas. Oh my gosh, her book is like amazing. There's just so much from so many different recipe creators and different backgrounds and different ways of cooking or uncooking, you know, raw and cooked, and you know, everything is just, there's so much for everybody. So the links in our bios, you guys, if you want to pick up the vegan health bundle this year, over $8,000 value for just $49. So don't miss out, you know, get it today so you can start on your path. It's a great opportunity to, you know, get Alanna's, you know, smoothie book, my 7-day juice and meal plan books in there. Like I said, you know, Rebecca Stoner stuff. Lissa Maris has great wraps in there. Chef AJ has her her Goodman peanut chews recipe in there. And gosh, there's
I made
so
those for
much.
my
Like who
family.
else? What's that?
I made those for my family, the Goodman peanut
Oh, you
chews.
did.
I used hazelnuts instead. Yeah, and
Awesome. Did everybody love
everyone was
them?
going nuts. They're like, ah.
That's great. I still haven't had a chance to make those. But gosh, I'm thinking what else? There's uh,
There are courses
oh.
in there. Like there's a yoga for all bodies by yoga
Mhm.
celebrity Angelica Coverts. I was actually part of her yoga bundle, and that she's amazing. She does
Oh,
really awesome stuff.
oh, I have to
And
check that
then
one out.
yeah, and then there's yeah, even Lissa and Nate, like Raw Food Romance, they did a course on how to do the raw vegan food prep, and
Hmm.
also there's shoot, I'm losing all the names. Yeah, there are just like so
So
many, so many,
many.
so many, so
Yeah.
many like
And you were
people in
mentioning
the
Karen Ramsey. I made her
yes.
her buckwheat pizza. I think she put that one in the Spring Collaborators ebook that we all did, and I pulled that from there and made her buckwheat pizza. It was delicious. They're raw vegan.
Oh, nice. I haven't made that yet. I've got to
Hmm.
try that. I've got lots of
Yeah.
buckwheat. So.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go. You already have the ingredients.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
And how
so
about
yeah,
your
so
your story a little bit? Would you mind sharing a little bit about your story and how you came to
sure. Sure.
into
Thank you for asking. Yeah. Um, well, like we have a lot of similarities. Became a vegetarian when I was 11 years old, and it was for my love of animals. I just kind of realized, you know, the inhumane treatment of animals and that, you know, people were eating them. I used to feel really sad when my family and I would drive by a farm where all the cows were. It was a huge farm. It was like, I won't mention the name of the place, but it's a huge farm. So there was like thousands and thousands of cows, like behind just fences and gates and stalls.
well,
And at that young of an age, it just got me, you know, right in my gut. I didn't like seeing animals like that. I couldn't even see animals like getting hurt, like on TV, even though I knew it wasn't real. Like I just couldn't see it. And still to this day, I don't like it. Um, so that kind of started me on, you know, I just I want animals to be free and to be loved, and I just couldn't understand at that age, you know, why people needed to eat them and why animals needed to suffer and have pain and why baby calves would be taken away from their moms, and it hurts me. Even just talking about it, you know. So that really propelled me to like, okay, I'm not taking part in this. I'm not going to eat meat. And also, I started to look into the nutrition of the body and the health of the body. Even at that young of an age, I've always had a fascination with health and healing in the body and the skeletal system, the muscular system, all that. So the elimination system, the colon, you know, the bowels, and you know, I think our health begins in the colon. So in my research, I looked at the differences between humans and animals because, you know, the animals who are carnivores and they eat other animals and meat, which I don't even like to watch that either, their colons are set up differently than us humans. And a lot of disease in humans is because some of them are super high meat eaters, and the body cannot digest the meat or like put it through the colon in a healthy, fast way. So a lot of it just putrefies and causes a lot of acidity in the body and sickness and disease. And so I started to look at the health components as well, not only just, you know, the ethical stance. And so I started to realize how much healthier it was, and for longevity and for life, and to avoid diseases in the future, to be a vegan, to be plant-based, and to get the most out of our nutrition. And at the same time, you know that I am, you know, making the world better, not hurting animals, you know, having to eat them. So that's kind of my base. And I was a vegetarian for 26 years. And then I transitioned into vegan, or high raw vegan. And yeah, have just really enjoyed my path along the way. You know, at one point, like you were mentioning, I can relate, because at one point I also let myself get unhealthy, even though I knew better. And I vegetarian, I've never, you know, eaten meat after that point when I became a vegetarian. But you can be an unhealthy vegetarian and an unhealthy vegan with all those faux meats out there, and
All the
oil,
cheese. I
all the
mean,
cheese, you
with all
know,
that cheese
the
is
fake
not.
cheeses, exactly. And even vegetarians eating real cheese and all that. So I got myself unhealthy for a while and really didn't make myself a priority, and I gained weight. And then I got myself back on track. You know, I always wanted to be a holistic health practitioner and coach since I graduated high school. So I, you know, became a raw food chef and juicy nutrition expert, and just love helping other people with my story, just like you do. You know, I have different programs too, and coaching sessions. And I know you mentioned you have an 8-week program too. I have a 12-week one. So it's like, it's so fun doing what we love now, and being able to share and help people to get healthier and live a better life, because we can do it. We can do it. And yeah, so just along the way, just not wanting to, you know, hurt animals, and just live healthier and get healthier. And especially during that period of time when I was unhealthy, when I let myself go and didn't make myself a priority, I also suffered some health challenges. I had sleep apnea. I had Epstein-Barr, chronic fatigue. I had gallstones. I had went to the emergency room once because the pain was so horrific. And I do not like going to doctors or emergency rooms. Like, I stay away. I believe we can heal ourselves mainly of anything. But I went because I was in such severe pain, and they confirmed that I had gallstones, and they said, oh, well, we're going to need to take your gallbladder out next week. Let's make an appointment. And I was like, no, thank you. I'm not doing that. You know, I'm going to heal myself. I know I can do it. I knew the healing programs and the things. I just wasn't living the lifestyle for a few years. So I got myself healthy and I healed myself. I did a 30-day intense detoxification program that included tons of fresh juices, smoothies, raw foods, teas, tinctures, herbs, tonics, intense bath treatments, hot and cold treatments. You know, I just wanted to do everything. I'm like, well, whatever's going on, I'm just going to heal it all, cleanse all my organs, get myself back on track, reset my health, and start to live the life I want to live, you know, and be healthy and be able to age gracefully and really enjoy life. So I did that, you know, during that time, and then it just continued on to have the raw foods and share the message with others and help people along the way as well. So yeah, that's a little bit of my story.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, we have a lot in common.
Yeah, definitely. The more we talk, I can tell. I'm like, oh yeah, totally relate to that. Totally. Oh yeah. And then when you said about the cookies too, Alanna, when you said about the cookies, I'll tell you a funny story. It reminded me of me. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have that cookie thing in common too. Because when I was like in high school, and I was in shape back then, I worked out a lot, vegetarian, really healthy. I thought, you know, I was really healthy and I worked out and everything, but I was, because you talked about the nutritional component, and I was like, my body wasn't getting enough nutrition. Like, I don't think I was eating enough. So I would come home sometimes from school and there would be cookies, you know, and Oreos are vegan. They're not healthy, but you could say, oh, well, that's vegan. That's why you can't just think that, everything vegetarian and vegan is healthy. But I would sometimes want to come home and I would eat like a whole row or two or box of cookies as well,
Yeah.
because my body was like starving for nutrition. And I remember that. And I remember getting more into health and researching like why, because my body is looking for nutrition. And
Yep.
once I started to give it the nutrition it needed from the whole foods, the plants and the raw foods, and started eating more vegetables and more salads and more hydration foods, then my body was like, oh, thank you. You gave me what I needed. I don't need to look for it in these sugary cookies anymore. And that's a huge part of, what people need to realize, why they have these cravings for bad foods and why they want to go eat a whole box of cookies. It's because your body is starving for nutrition and satiation and for comfort. But if we can just switch and give it what it needs from these natural healthy foods, and give it enough, don't be afraid, eat enough of the healthy foods, just eat them. Your body will get what it needs, and then your cravings will go away from those bad foods, because that's all it is your body looking for nutrition.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Definitely can be like, trick you into believing that
yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
never be able to get over it. And I
Yeah.
and I and I believe that you can still like have cravings over time, but
Mm-hmm.
like the way that I used to have cravings is like nothing compared to like today. Like
Right.
before it was just like I had no control like whatsoever. Like I felt totally like powerless in front of like a box of cookies or something like that. Like it
Yeah.
was just like
Yeah.
I had to eat
Mm-hmm.
it. And now it's like I have a totally different outlook on things. And if you have healthy alternatives like ready in your
Yes.
freezer, like in your kitchen, that's like the key. Like you
Yes.
have your healthy alternatives. That way, you can just go and grab like, one of your cookie balls, or like you can make a nice smoothie, or you can, yeah,
Yes.
it's so important.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so I like that you brought that up. Like you can still have cravings sometimes, and that's why it's so important to have all of the healthy food and your healthy dessert options. So when you have that craving, because sometimes it's more of like kind of just like a comfort craving almost, like, oh, it just
Mhm.
sounds good to sit down with a piece of
Unless-
pie. Yeah, or with some almond milk and pretty little plates. And like, I like to do that, but I choose the healthy, like raw vegan carrot cake,
flavor.
or you know what I mean? So it's like, it feels good to be able to do that and enjoy that, but you're giving your body something that's good. So yeah.
Really. Around
Well,
the holidays,
awesome.
I find that a lot.
What's that? The holidays?
Around the holidays, like I find that
Oh,
could be really challenging for people. So it is nice
right.
to like to have those like special holiday like alternatives. And like I think there are a lot in this bundle. Like getting back to the bundle, there are like a lot of
Hmm.
really nice like healthy alternatives that are good for the
Yeah.
holiday.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so people will get like everything they need in this bundle, tons of recipes, you guys. You'll get what you need through the holidays as well, Start to pick and choose things now and have your menu planned out. So before we know it, it'll be that time again, and you'll have some awesome recipes, and you can make such a delicious spread to share with your family and friends and gatherings. And I love that. It's something I love when I get together with friends. And this past holiday, um, we had to get together at one of my friends' house, and it was so fun because I made delicious, healthy, juicy mocktails, and I brought over the fresh juice and and my components and how I mixed them with everything healthy and raw, and it's so fun to be able to share our healthy living and our recipes with others, whether they're familiar with it or not. But when they see it and we introduce them to it, they're like, wow, okay, I didn't know there was this option or this way of having this food or drink. And it's kind of exciting to see that in others too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, let me see if anybody has any more questions. Alanna, I have just really enjoyed this live with you. I wish I could have seen you the whole time, but I know everybody else can see both of us.
Yeah, me too. I was thinking I'll go back and watch it. That way I can
Yeah.
actually see your face.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Okay, well, everybody loves you. I'm just so glad that we got to do this today. And everybody, make sure that you check out the Vegan Health Bundle. Here is
Thanks everyone
again.
for listening in to our stories. I appreciate the support and the love.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you guys so much. And check it out. The links are in our bios. And yeah, thank you for listening and just letting us share. And much love and blessings. And we'll catch you another time. Bye, everybody. And bye, Alanna.
Thank you, Rosie. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.